Hello everyone! So today our podcast will be about tulip shrine. So first of all, let me define what is that. Tulipa shranki is a wild perennial tulip that grows in the steppes of the Kazakhstan and Central Asia. It is considered one of the ancestors of earliest cultivated tulip varieties. It is from such steppe forms that later garden tulips with a huge variety of colors and shades developed. So the flower has a characteristic elongate bud to narrow leaves and rounded bulb. In spring, it blooms on rocky slopes and plains, becoming a bright symbol of the awakening of nature and the beginning of the new year in the spring cycle. So our first story ties us to a very specific point on the map, the Zholtau Mountains in the Oktogay district of the Karaganda region. This is the south edge of the Sararka, where this flat steppe gradually breaks into the rocky ridges, cliffs and low hills. The nearest village, Saritsiruk, is dozens of kilometers away, so it feels as if you are standing at the edge of the world.
From the point of view of an ordinary city dweller, there is literally nothing here. No shops, no roads, no takeaway coffee. But as soon as an archaeologist looks at this landscape, the picture changes. In these seemingly empty spaces there is a dense layer of the past, camps, burial mounds, ancient paths, and most importantly for our story, large clusters of rock carvings.
This is exactly when the expedition came to study the ancient cultural and historical landscapes of Big Bagdala. The goal was not just to look at petroglyphs, but to identify new sites, document those already known, and walk roads along Zholtau, Arkarlı, and Bekası in order to assemble a coherent picture of how people lived here in the Bronze Age and later.
So, as a result, several large galleries of the petroglyphs were recorded in the Zholtau area. Each such section contains between 1 and 300 images and things. Imagine a rock face densely covered with the tiny pictures.
On the stone you see the whole familiar steppe, zoo. Mountain goats, horses, camels, sometimes entire herds. There are human figures, hunting scenes, riders, strange beings that could be spirits, gods or masks. It's a visual archive. People of the Bronze Age literally left their stories on stone, just without sound and captions.
Among this variety, researchers identified a special type symbolic petroglyphs. Here the focus is not on an action but on a sign, circles, crosses, spirals, strange figures with curved lines. You can read them as a hunter chasing a goat. What is hidden? There are ideas about the world, the cosmos, the gods.
One of the most interesting of the symbolic stones was found in the Zholtau second group. It lies at the base of a rocky dike, as if someone had deliberately placed a special screen for image there.
Several elements were carved on its surface. 3 concentric circles, 12 rays radiating from the outer circle. Below, a perfectly straight cross. Next to it, a silhouette figure from which 4 curved lines extend and converge like a flowery bud. And an C-shaped sign with its ends coiled into spirals.
If we analyze this as a composition, we get something like a cosmogram. Circles with rays are an image of the sun or the heavenly levels. The cross represents the division of space into the 4 cardinal directions. The C-shaped sign may be associated with movement, water, snake, transition between worlds, or together it is a compact scheme of the universe curved onto a border in the Bronze Age.
But the main surprise of the expedition was not of these cosmic stones, but a little further away, in the Zholtau 1 group. There, some distance from the main concentration of petroglyphs, lies 2 massive slabs, as if someone had deliberately placed them apart.
On one of these slabs, on a flat surface facing southwest and covered with a dense dark, desert varnish, archaeologists saw a completely different motif a plant. And not an abstract flower for decoration, but a very precise profile, a bud, a straight stem, two characteristics elongated leaves and a round bulb at the bottom.
Below the flower there is a small undefined figure and a straight cross above it. Two mountain gods. Higher up on other planes of the same rock we see a horse, a camel with an amorphous figure, and a large god with crossed legs next to a camel, and a human figure with arms and legs spread wide. Judging by the color of the patina, the cross and the tulip are noticeably older than some of these figures. They are attributed to the Bronze Age, whereas part of the surrounding image may be medieval add-ons.
To understand what plant was carved on the slab, the archaeologists brought in biologists, and then something happened that every scientist probably dreamed of saying at least once in their life. Oh, that's our old friend.
The botanists quickly agreed that what we see is Schrenk's tulip, Tulipa schrenki. It's a wild perennial tulip considered to be one of the ancestors of the earliest cultivated varieties. All those bright garden tulips that we admire today in parks and on postcards have such steep ancestors.
The nicest detail in the story is that the researchers found dried buds of Schrenk's tulip right in the steppe around the petroglyph. In other words, this species continues to grow in the very same landscape where someone carved it on stone thousands of years ago. Living flowers and its stone image are literally neighbors.
For the petroglyph of Bronze Age Kazakhstan, the motif of a flower is an extremely rare phenomenon. Usually the rocks show hunting scenes, charities, animals, solar signs, and here we have a specific plant species depicted with a great attention to detail. You can see the shape of the leaves and the bulb. This means that the tulip was not just part of the landscape, but an important symbol.
This find immediately led archaeologists to the topic of long-distance cultural connections. Scholars have long known that the rock art of Kazakhstan contains images linked to the ancient agricultural centers of Central Asia, the oases of Fergana and the valleys of the Zerafshan and Marhab rivers. In terms of iconography, the tulip from Jeltau is very similar to floral motifs on cult objects of the Bactrian Margarian archaeological complex. There, similar flowers appear alongside goddesses, vessels for sacred drinks, and scenes of fertility.
So a single tulip carved on stone becomes a point where the steppe and the ancient oasis intersect. The place where it was found on the southern edge of Sarka shows how road and migration passed through the town and how important this symbol was for the people of the Bronze Age. And later in the next block we will move on from the fragile flower to other things, to bronze cauldron, horses and cosmic rituals that also linked the steppe with the wider ancient world.